Hi, welcome to another episode of Make Gains. Today, we're going to be talking about crazy overspending, the psychology behind it, and how you can do better.
I can go to Target and spend $600 and then I can take it all home and regret all of it,
Then return it.
but I don't.
Okay.
So then I'm negative $600 for going to Target.
And that's how it happens. You go to Target, spend $600, no, you shouldn't, and then just keep it.
We got a Target on June 27th, another Target run on June 27th, Target run on June 24th, June 21st. Basically, every other day we're going to Target. We need to figure out what's causing us to go to Target so often and maybe get rid of some of those things.
I think the truth is most people don't know why they're going to Target so often. The answer is because it feels good. It gives you that dopamine hit, and you just like it.
My spending issues really came to a head last summer. We had just had our second kid in December, and I was filling a void with spending. I was spending multiple nights a week at Target, putting money on a credit card that I should not have been putting money on. And I was buying things on Amazon, Target, Instagram, or wherever, and I was spending money we didn't have. That was the problem. It was a big problem. But I also was seeing that I had no self-control when it came to spending money. It started off small, like I'll just run through Starbucks this morning before work. It won't be that big of a deal. It's only $5. And then only $5 became a trip every day. And then one trip to Target turned into 3 or 4 a week. It came to a head when I maxed out our credit card. And I had to tell my husband.
Yeah, that's a bad situation. And anytime you're overspending like that, where it's habitual, it's really difficult to get out of because most people don't know why they're doing it. It feels good. And you just feel like you need to go in there and check things out. Or there might be one thing you go for and then you end up buying 50 things. It can be an addiction, like a legit addiction.
My husband spends over $1,000 a month just on phone games on his iPhone.
When you say that out loud, does it sound as crazy to you as it does to me?
Yes.
Like this is like illness level. Mm-hmm. What's your household income? $83,000. How old is your husband?
29.
Okay.
I'm a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
I'm the one that pays the bills.
Yeah.
I pinch money wherever I can.
Yeah. Okay.
So that we can get those paid.
You guys need to get some professional help.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Because this is not $100 and he makes $200,000. They've carefully designed the games to create a dopamine hit to cause you to come back again and again. They designed these games to be addictive. If you're not aware of that, it's very true.
Yeah.
It's also true of the way the videos now work on slot machines. They have carefully designed those to be addictive. So your husband is involved in an addictive behavior loop. And so this is not a money problem. This is, you have a husband that is addicted problem. If your husband was doing some other form of addiction, what would you do? Well, you would demand that he get some help, and you would begin to see someone to build language and a narrative to talk to him in such a way that he starts to understand that he's destroying himself and his family with this behavior.
It feels like I'm talking at him.
Yeah, you are. You're talking to an addict.
I feel like I'm nagging.
You're talking to him when he's drunk.
Yeah.
You can't talk to a drunk.
Right.
Okay? You need to say, honey, I'm going to marriage counseling because I'm afraid our marriage is going to end because I'm terrified that I'm married to an addict. You are completely out of control. I'm going to go see a marriage counselor to try to save our marriage. I hope you'll come.
Okay.
Set an appointment and go. Regardless of whether he goes or not, you go without him.
Okay.
And have that person start to teach you how to speak to an addict to give you any possibility of getting through the fog of this into his brain, and he remembers that he's a husband and a father more than he is a game player on a freaking iPhone.
Right.
Yeah, that is rough, y'all. If you think about the amount of money that they're talking about, it is not a small amount of money. That's a mortgage for a lot of people. $1,000 a month. If you can spend $1,000 a month on video games, then you could also save $1,000 a month. That's $12,000 a year. So $12,000 a year, if you were to save that and put that in the S&P 500, you do that for 30 years, you know how much money you would have? You would have over $2 million. $2 million. All right. So that $1,000 a month purchase, okay, forget about the video games thing, whether it's video games, whether it's Target, or whether it's a combination of Target and Starbucks and Sephora and whatever else you're spending money on, that is impacting your future. If you could change those spending habits and make it a saving habit, it would dramatically improve your future.
I think I'm going to become a runner. Hey, how's the running coming? Oh, I'm off of that. I did it a couple times and realized running wasn't really for me. I think I want to become a guitar player. How's the guitar playing coming? I haven't really used it yet. I mean, I tried it once and then things got pretty busy and I just haven't really been able to get around to it.
Y'all see where that's going. I don't know if any of you guys can relate to that. I have made purchases just like that. I've done it with clothing. I've done it with shoes like she's talking about. Lots of people do it with instruments. I mean, there's so many hobbies. I mean, you could do that with any sport. My daughter did it with ice skating. She got the ice skates, the blade covers, the ice skating bag that holds everything. There was tons of accessories that she got that are related to ice skating. It's probably a couple $100. And then guess what? A couple months later, not enjoying ice skating so much. So we've got ice skates in our closet. So if you want to start a new hobby, borrowing is best. I had a friend who did this with paintball. He was like, I'm going to get into paintball. I'm going to start doing competitions. He bought an entry-level gun. He got the entry-level CO2 stuff. And then he did it for a couple weeks. And then he decided he needed a better gun so he could compete at a higher level. So he bought a much nicer gun, like a $600 gun. I think he only did it for a couple more months. And then I started wanting to play paintball with a few friends. And he let me borrow all that for free. I just gave him a box of paintballs when I was done. That was it. I didn't have to buy any equipment. You can probably do that too. If you ask around, you probably know somebody. You can also buy stuff secondhand. That's a great option. You can pick up stuff on Facebook Marketplace really cheap if it's used. Look into that for these hobbies we're talking about here.
So I officially realized I have a spending problem today, and I'm not talking like shopping every weekend. I'm just saying unnecessary purchases. Planning out my May goals, in April, planning out the next month's goals. And I thought, it's time to start making some better financial goals. So what's the first thing I do? Open up Amazon, and I'm looking at budgeting books to purchase. Like, there's so many free Excel sheets. The fact that that's just my initial response just screams everything I need to know about myself.
Yeah, I think we all do this, and it is important to recognize that. So I'm glad she's recognizing that. We do that with software. Oh, I need a budget. I should go and pay for this software when you don't even know if you would actually use it. If you can figure out a way to do it for free or extremely cheap, that's your best option. And then if you find out later that, hey, this would be worth the purchase because it would save me that much time and effort, then yeah, sure, maybe. But don't make that your first thought.
I can't stand it when I see kids that are making $70,000 a year spending $28 for lunch. I mean, that's just stupid. It's just, think about that in the context of that being put into an index and making 8 to 10% a year for the next 50 years. The best test, I do with my kids' friends too. Go into a closet. Go into your closet and look at how much you have you don't wear. Because you either bought it because you thought you were going to wear it and never wore it or wore it once, and you end up wearing 20% of your portfolio all of the time, and 80% you pissed away. I mean, that's really stupid. And so for a young person, a young woman or man, don't do that.
Don't do that. Yeah, if you can avoid buying stuff you don't need, man, you'd have so much more money. And I do think that's a good exercise. Go in your closet and look at what percentage of your things you actually wear. And I know for me, it used to be much worse. I've gotten much, much better. I try to only buy things whenever I need them, but I still will buy things going, oh, that's on sale. And I'll buy it and then not wear it much, or I'll buy it and not like it. So you've got to be careful about that. There was a period where I feel like my wife and I were donating more clothes than we bought. We buy stuff and it will just sit there. That's another one where a lot of people overspend and have habits. Shoes is a big one. I worked with a guy who every time he got paid, he bought a new pair of shoes. He knew he had a problem, but he didn't care. I think that those are things that we need to really think about and try to be disciplined with. If you can recognize those habits, then that's step number one, but then you've got to deal with it.
Target haul, because I am incapable of going anywhere without spending at least $100. First things first, the things that we actually came here for, I needed little slippers. I have multiple pairs of slippers, don't catch me tripping, but I'm going to a PJ's Pajamas, Pizza and Prosecco, like, bridal shower, and my jammies are pink, and I was like, well, what shoes do I wear? I don't know what shoes are, so I'm just gonna bring these and change into these. They have, like, a hard bottom on them, but they're so cutie, and they were, like, $10 on clearance, so another excuse to get some slippers, I guess. This thing, though, I found this, and I'm so excited about it, but it had a freaking sensor on it, and it had it going off because I didn't realize it. But I went back, and I got another tank. It's a $5 tank top, and it says, I love myself. I have the purple one that says high maintenance, but now I have one that says, I love myself, which I do so much. So I'm so happy about that because the last time I was...
Okay, we're going to stop that now because I don't think I can take anymore. But she goes through all of her stuff, and it sounds like this is an everyday occurrence. And I know personally lots of girls who act like this. And you know, this may have been a skit. I don't know. I hope it was, but probably not. Go a place to buy one thing, which she clearly didn't need, right? She didn't need those slippers for that party. She could have gone with whatever she had and nobody's going to be judging. She went in to buy one thing and ended up buying 10. That's why you need to avoid those places. A practical tip is if you need something or think you need something, write it down. And if you still need it in a week or 30 days, then go buy it. But don't buy stuff last minute because of something like this. That'll save you a ton of money. And the psychology of this, they say that the shopping process and the process of looking and putting something in your cart is like you get just as much of a dopamine hit as buying it. For online shopping, put it in your cart. And if it's a store that'll save your shopping cart, leave it there and then come back to it in a week or two. And if you still want it, then give yourself that permission if you have the money to pay cash for it. But I think a lot of times you're going to go, I really didn't need that. And you'll be able to move on. So for your shopping list, if it's something where you need to go to a store to get, write it down. And that way you are not making a purchase based on just a splurge or a last minute want.
I'm going to hold your hand when I tell you this. You do not need any more clothes. You do not need any more shoes. You do not need perfume. You don't need accessories. You've got more than you need. You don't even wear half of the stuff you have. Save your money. Let's get a budget together and lock in for the rest of the year.
Speaking truth. Know that you do have more than you need right now, regardless of how much you have. If you're able to watch this video, then chances are that you have everything that you need. And the stuff we're talking about is all wants.
So I was talking to my Spanish teacher last night, and we got on the subject of debt and credit card debt. I told him that whenever there's money in my bank account, I just want to spend it. Even when there's not money in my bank account and I have access to credit, I want to spend that too, hence why I have credit card debt. He asked me why do you want to spend the money so bad? Why aren't you able to just let the money sit there? I told him, honestly, I'm not sure. And I wish I knew. I wish I knew why I have such bad money habits, especially when logically I know the right thing to do. I used to work at Fidelity actually, and they taught us all this in training, like how to be financially responsible, the proper way to invest your money, how to stay out of credit card debt. I was literally paid to learn this stuff, and I still do it wrong. So if you're a psychologist or someone who knows about the psychology of spending money and saving money and using credit, please tell me what's wrong with me.
I think that He's doing good to recognize it. A lot of people have this problem. You know, the phrase, you got money burning a hole in your pocket. I mean, I've had that experience when I was younger. You got the money, you just want to go spend it so badly. And that's all you can think about. So you're thinking about all the stuff that you want or stuff you need and how there was that thing that you couldn't afford, but now you can. So yeah, really try hard not to do that. I got some comments here from this video. My mom spends her entire fixed income each month shopping. I think it makes her feel economically secure, which is silly in my opinion, but it's how she feels when she can expect a package. I get that feeling of safety stacking cash in accounts. At one point, she went bankrupt and the fix was to get rid of her credit cards. Wow, that's wild, but at the same time, I get it. I need to figure out how to switch from feeling secure by spending to feeling secure by saving. Somebody recommended listening to The Psychology of Money. That's a book by Morgan Housel. I can't answer that for him specifically, but I did find a psychologist who has an answer, and it makes sense.
You keep overspending, you hate it, and you're desperate to change it, but you can't figure out why. Let's talk. The most important place to start is remembering that every single thing that we do is an attempt to keep us safe. We are driven almost entirely from our subconscious, which is formed between the ages of 0 and 7 years old. The person driving the ship is like a 4-year-old half the time, 99% of the time. That part of you is always seeking safety, but they have the misguided tools of a perhaps traumatized 4-year-old. This is the important place to start because all the experiences that we have, all the things that we do are rooted in some kind of learned behavior where we're trying to keep ourselves safe with the limited resources that the previously traumatized version of you had available to them at the time. We move forward in the world and replicate these experiences because that traumatized part of you is seeking to be witnessed and rescued by you. The problem is we see these patterns like overspending and we immediately judge ourselves, get mad at ourselves, shame ourselves, which is probably what traumatized you experienced in the first place. So unfortunately, adult you is replicating the very same harm that little kid you experienced and is still looping on. This is why a better budget isn't solving the problem, because it's not about a budget in the first place. It's about a little tiny part of you who has very tender and important needs, and we have not yet been resourced to go and understand and uncover and sit with what it is that they actually need. And big you is angry because you would like to stop spending all your money at Target. If it were simple to stop overspending, you would have done it by now. There's some deeper need that's being expressed through this habit, and the only way it's going to change is if you find a way to sit compassionately with what is the greater need of this tender, wounded part of you. How can we love them, meet that need, integrate that part, therefore rewiring your subconscious, and then poof, the behavior just floats away. You are not trapped, but perhaps you need the tools and the guide and the pathway in to changing the behavior.
So I think that a lot of people can have feelings of guilt and shame over their spending and they don't know what to do about it. It is a vicious cycle, right? Counseling is helpful. If you really feel like you have an addiction problem, you really need to consider that. If it's something that is in extreme excess and you can't get away from it, counseling is probably a great option for you, and I would recommend that. Some comments on this one. I tend to overspend when I have money because I'm used to not having it. My family couldn't pay for basics, and if I don't spend it, it will disappear, and I will never get to buy what I want. Yeah, I think there's a lot to that. If you're not used to having money, then when you get it, it makes sense that you want to spend it. There's also this weird thing that people talk about. They talk about your money floor, right? So whenever you get a windfall or if you get a job that pays you a lot of money, but your psychology says, hey, I should only be making $60,000, $70,000 a year, those people sabotage and do things that don't allow them to take advantage of the extra money. And that's just one of the reasons why when people win the lottery, they go back to where they were before, just being broke and in need, because that's where their money mindset is. So I think there is something to changing that, and there is some psychology there. Somebody else said, how do I find out what that need is? I totally identify with this. You probably need to talk to a psychologist. I already do it with many other aspects of my life, but never truly considered that overspending was something I could analyze like this.
You're broke by choice. You don't have a money shortage. You have a self-control shortage. You keep saying, if I just made more money, I'd be good. No, you wouldn't. No, you would not. Because the lifestyle that you're chasing is already eating up the paycheck that you have. More money does not fix money habits. It magnifies them. You can't pay your bills, but you're subscribed to more streaming apps than you have friends. You DoorDash $30 meals 3 nights a week, but you swear you can't afford to meal prep. You finance vacations, but then you come home to late bills? Oh, and don't forget, you're wearing $200 sneakers, but you avoid a $200 credit card payment. Make it make sense. That's not poverty, that's priorities. Stop financing your self-esteem. You don't need a new car or new bag or new phone to prove anything to anybody. Separate your needs from your wants. You might need caffeine, but you damn sure don't need a $7 Starbucks every morning when there is a 30-cent cup at home that hits exactly the same. Needs keep you secure. Wants keep you stuck and broke when you can't afford them. Stop blaming your paycheck. Start blaming your choices. You don't need a raise. You need a reality check. Hope that helps.
I hope that helps too. Some of y'all just need that tough love. It's not that you need a psychologist. It's that 4-year-old needs some discipline. Okay, so you can't have everything that you want, and it doesn't make sense, some of these things you're doing. If you're doing the things that she's talking about here, then you do need to wake up to that, all right? We can't just continue going into debt and not paying bills, and yet at the same time going out and spending a lot of money in a fancy restaurant or buying expensive clothes. So there's definitely something there. I recommend rewatching that if you need some motivation or some tough love. I agree 100%.
So in my last video, I was talking about how buying newer and nicer things doesn't make you more happy because the newness and the niceness wears off after a couple weeks and you return to your same level of happiness. Money and happiness are not necessarily related in that way. And this person's asking, well then how does it work? So I'll give you my quick 3-part take on how money and happiness are related. First of all, there is a certain amount of money that will bring happiness, and that is the amount of money to cover your basic necessities. It will make you happier if you're struggling to put food on the table, keep a roof over your head, those things. It will make you happier to have money to not be struggling with those things. So there is a certain amount of money that will bring you that happiness, just having the comfort of basic necessities of life. From there is a certain amount of happiness you get from buying new things and upgrading your lifestyle. But you need to understand that that wears off. So you might be excited that you upgrade your car, you upgrade your house, or whatever the situation is, you buy a new piece of clothing, but the excitement and happiness that wears off after a couple weeks. That doesn't mean you shouldn't do those things. It just means that you shouldn't expect that is going to sustain your happiness for months and years. It's going to be a short little dopamine hit and then it's going to be over. And that's why people develop shopping problems, because they spend and spend trying to get back to that base level of happiness, just like a drug addict would. What are we searching for here with money and happiness? My take on it is that we're not looking for happiness in life, we're looking for peace. Peace is a sustainable baseline from which to live our life. So to the extent that money can bring us peace, by making responsible financial decisions, having enough to know that we're never going to run out of money at some point in our lives, that we can retire, making smart decisions with your money and spending in a way where you can enjoy it, but also be diligent with saving and investing. That's what's going to bring you the most peace. Money can help you get there, but the other piece of it is peace comes from within. We have to do the internal work to find that level of peace that we're looking for. So that's my take on money and happiness.
I think it's a good take. And I think we are, a lot of us, chasing those dopamine hits. So if you could just recognize that peace is what you're looking for and then try to maintain that, then that might be a good way to view it.
Come with me to return $300 worth of stuff. I have a shopping problem and I'm trying to get out of that. So I am returning all these things I do not need. I have to go to 5 different stores. Let's go do that.
I put this one at the end, guys, because I think that this might be the best medicine for many of you. I've had to do that and it does hurt, right? But you buy something, you know that you shouldn't have spent it. You know it was a splurge and you know that you didn't have that money. Well, there is normally the option of taking it back. And Yes, it does hurt a little bit, hurts the pride, but I think that is one of the best options. You heard the girl in the front of the video saying, hey, I spend $600 in Target on a credit card and it's all stuff I don't need, and she doesn't want to return it. But you, if you're watching this video, you can still take that option. So even if you've made that mistake, guess what? You already got the dopamine hit. So now you can return it because you know that you don't need it and it's not going to really bring you any joy. What will bring you joy is getting that money back and being able to put it towards something that is going to help you make gains in your life, like saving for your future or paying down debt, which is very important. We talk about that a lot on this channel. Hopefully you got something out of this video. If this was helpful, please hit that like button. Also, if this is your first time on the channel, we release videos on Mondays and Thursdays. So hit that subscribe button if you'd like to be notified when those come out. You can also click that little bell. If you know somebody who you think needs to hear this, share the video. I would really appreciate it and it'll mean a lot to us. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.